My parents said I'm too attached to material things because I won't sell my condo to fund my brother's restaurant. 6 months later, they're asking me to pay off his fraud investigation. Hi everyone! Today's story will blow your mind, but really quick, if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. Channel's been a bit quiet lately, and your support keeps it all going. Let's jump in. Original post. I, 29M, need some perspective because I'm starting to question my own sanity in this situation with my parents Robert, 59M, and Patricia, 56F, and my younger brother Tyler, 22M. Let me start with some background. I've been working as a software engineer since graduating from college 7 years ago. The journey hasn't been easy. I started at a small startup making $65,000 a year, living with 3 roommates in a cramped apartment in Seattle. I remember eating instant ramen 5 nights a week, taking the bus everywhere because I couldn't afford a car, and watching every penny. My entertainment budget was essentially zero. While my college friends were going to concerts and taking weekend trips, I was grinding through side projects and freelance coding jobs to build my savings. After 2 years, I jumped to a better company, then another. Each move was strategic, increasing my salary and skills. By year 5, I was making $120,000. Still, I maintained my frugal lifestyle. My coworkers would go out for $15 lunches. I brought sandwiches from home. They'd upgrade their phones yearly. I kept my old one until it literally stopped working. Every bonus, every tax refund, every extra dollar went into my savings account. 3 years ago, I finally had enough for a down payment on a 1-bedroom condo in downtown Seattle. It wasn't fancy, 650 square feet, built in the 80s, needed some updating. But it was mine. I put down $76,000, 20%, on the $380,000 purchase price. The mortgage payments were steep, but I'd calculated everything down to the last cent. I even took on extra freelance projects to accelerate my mortgage payments. The first night in my condo, I sat on the floor, I couldn't afford furniture yet, and just cried. Happy tears. I'd done it. I owned property in one of the most expensive cities in America. Over the next 3 years, I slowly furnished the place, did some minor renovations myself, YouTube University taught me basic plumbing and painting, and watched the Seattle real estate market go crazy. My condo is now valued at approximately $475,000. After all my extra payments, I owe about $245,000 on the mortgage, giving me roughly $230,000 in equity. Now, let me tell you about Tyler. He's 7 years younger and has always been the golden child. While I was nerdy and introverted, Tyler was charismatic, creative, and charming. He could talk his way into or out of anything. Our parents absolutely doted on him. When I was working part-time jobs in high school to save for college, Tyler was taking art classes and going to summer camps. When I was grinding through computer science courses and working 20 hours a week at the campus IT department, Tyler was studying abroad in Paris and Rome for culinary inspiration. Don't get me wrong, I love my brother. But our parents' favoritism has always been obvious. They paid for both our educations, which I'm grateful for. But while I got state school tuition and basic meal plans, Tyler went to a prestigious culinary institute that cost twice as much. While I worked every summer, Tyler got internships at fancy restaurants where he barely made minimum wage but gained invaluable experience. Tyler graduated from culinary school 6 months ago. Since then, he's been living with our parents, occasionally picking up shifts at restaurants but mostly developing his concept and networking. He posts constantly on Instagram about food trends, his culinary philosophy, and his dreams of opening his own place. Last Sunday, my parents invited me over for what they said was a family dinner with important news. I assumed someone was sick or they were finally planning to retire. I showed up at 6 p.m. to find the dining room set with a good china and Tyler wearing a suit, which should have been my first red flag. We sat down to dinner. Tyler had cooked, and I'll admit it was fantastic. Seared duck with cherry reduction, perfect risotto, vegetables I couldn't even name prepared in ways that made them actually delicious. Throughout the meal, my parents kept exchanging meaningful looks with Tyler, who seemed unusually nervous. Finally, over dessert, some elaborate chocolate creation with gold leaf, my mom cleared her throat. James, we have something exciting to discuss with you. Tyler stood up like he was giving a presentation. I'm ready to open my own restaurant, he announced. I've spent the last 6 months developing the concept, researching the market, and I know exactly what Seattle needs. He launched into his pitch, a fusion concept combining Pacific Northwest ingredients with Asian techniques and flavors. Farm to table, sustainable, locally sourced, all the buzzwords. He had a name, Fusion Forest. He showed us mood boards, sample menus, even had a location scouted out in Capitol Hill. That's great, Tyler, I said, genuinely trying to be supportive. Have you talked to any investors? What about a business loan? That's when the room got quiet. My parents looked at each other, then at me. My dad cleared his throat. That's where you come in, son. The words hung in the air. I felt my stomach drop. What do you mean? I asked, even though I was starting to understand exactly what he meant. My mom reached across the table to pat my hand. James, honey, Tyler needs $400,000 to get started. We've looked at your condo value, and after selling costs and paying off your mortgage, you'd have almost exactly that amount. I pulled my hand back. You want me to sell my condo? Not want, my dad corrected. This is an opportunity for the whole family. Tyler's going to build something amazing, and you get to be part of it from the ground floor. By selling my home, I repeated, still not quite believing what I was hearing. Tyler jumped in, his enthusiasm seemingly genuine. James, I know it's a big ask, but this is my dream. Our dream. Think about it. You'd be investing in something real, something meaningful. Not just sitting on some appreciated real estate. Sitting on real estate? I felt my anger rising. I live in that real estate. It's my home. My mom's eyes started to water. James, we raised you boys to support each other. Family means sacrifice. We sacrificed so much for both of you. And I'm grateful, I said. But I've also worked for everything I have. I lived like a monk for 5 years to buy that condo. Exactly, Tyler exclaimed. You've already proven you can do it once. You can do it again. But I only get one shot at this right now, while the restaurant scene is hot and I have momentum. What momentum? I asked. You've been living at home for 6 months. His face flushed. I've been developing my craft. Building relationships. You wouldn't understand. You just sit at a computer all day. My dad held up a hand. Boys, let's not fight. James, think about this logically. Tyler's right. You can always buy another place later. Maybe even a better one. But his window of opportunity is now. The restaurant space won't be available forever. His connections from culinary school are all starting to make names for themselves. He needs to strike while the iron is hot. With my iron, I muttered. That's a selfish way to look at it, my mom said, her voice taking on that disappointed tone I knew so well. We're talking about your brother's future. His dreams. Doesn't that mean anything to you? I looked around the table at their expectant faces. Of course it means something. But my dreams mean something too. My dream of stability, of building equity, of having a place that's mine. Why is his dream more important than mine? Because you've already achieved yours. Tyler shouted. You have a good job, you have savings, you have options. All I have is this chance, and you want to take it away from me. I'm not taking anything away, I protested. I'm just not giving you my home. The conversation devolved from there. My mom cried. My dad accused me of being materialistic and forgetting my values. Tyler alternated between pleading and accusatory, bringing up every time I'd supposedly let him down over the years. Did I remember when I didn't come to his high school graduation dinner because of a work deadline? What about when I missed his culinary school knife ceremony because I was closing on the condo? I finally stood up. I need to think about this, I lied, knowing my answer would never change. What's there to think about? Tyler demanded. Either you believe in me or you don't. That's manipulative and you know it, I shot back. Boys, my mom wailed. Please. We're family. I left shortly after, my dad's words ringing in my ears. We didn't raise you to be selfish, James. We're very disappointed. The drive home was a blur. I called my girlfriend Sarah from the car, hands-free of course, and she was shocked. They actually asked you to sell your condo? Your home? For a restaurant. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept running the numbers in my head. Even if I wanted to help, which I didn't, the math was insane. After realtor fees, 6%, closing costs, capital gains taxes, and paying off my mortgage, I'd maybe net $180,000. Not even close to the $400,000 Tyler claimed he needed. And then what? I'd be homeless, renting again in a market where one-bedrooms go for $2,500 a month. The next morning, the family group chat exploded. Tyler had sent a long message at 2 a.m. Family, I'm heartbroken. I presented my dream to James last night, hoping for his support, and was met with selfishness I never expected from my own brother. While I've been working toward building something that could support our entire family for generations, He's more concerned about his personal comfort. I guess some people value property over people. I'll find another way to make Fusion Forest happen, with or without family support. The responses came fast. Aunt Linda, what happened? Tyler, sweetheart, don't give up on your dreams. Cousin Michelle, family should always support family. Disappointed to hear this. Uncle George, James, call me. Let's talk about this. Grandma, my boys shouldn't be fighting like this. James, do the right thing. I muted the chat, but the individual texts started rolling in. By lunch, I had 47 messages from various family members. Most had only heard Tyler's version, that I was refusing to invest in his restaurant. No mention of selling my home. No mention of the fact that this investment came with no equity, no ownership, no legal protections. My mom called me at work. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. And again. Finally, I picked up. James, honey, I couldn't sleep last night, she began, her voice thick with tears. I keep thinking about when you boys were little, how you used to protect Tyler on the playground. What happened to that boy who cared about his family? Mom, I still care about my family. But caring doesn't mean financial suicide. Suicide? James, we're talking about helping your brother achieve his dreams. You're being dramatic. Am I? You're asking me to sell my home, Mom. The home I worked for years to buy. To hand over hundreds of thousands of dollars to someone with zero business experience for a restaurant, an industry with an 80% failure rate. Why do you have to be so negative? Why can't you believe in your brother? I can believe in him and still keep my home. Those aren't mutually exclusive. She sighed heavily. Your father and I are so disappointed, James. We sacrificed everything for you boys. We paid for your education, supported you through college. And I'm grateful for that. But that doesn't mean I owe Tyler my home. It's not about owing. It's about love. Family. Supporting each other. Where was this energy when I was eating ramen for 5 years to save for my down payment? Where was the family support when I was working 80-hour weeks to establish my career? You never asked for help. Neither did Tyler. You're offering it to him. With my money. The call ended badly, with my mom crying and saying she didn't know where she went wrong with me. Update 1. 3 weeks later. The past 3 weeks have been absolutely insane. After going radio silent on my family for a week, during which I received approximately 200 texts, 50 calls, and numerous Facebook messages from extended family, Tyler showed up at my office. I work at a tech company in South Lake Union with pretty good security. When the front desk called up saying my brother was there to see me, I almost said no. But curiosity, and probably some residual guilt, got the better of me. Tyler came up looking like a different person. Gone was the casual, slightly disheveled artist. He wore a sharp suit, carried a leather portfolio, and had styled his hair like he was heading to a business meeting. Which, apparently, he thought he was. Can we use a conference room? He asked. I have a presentation. Against my better judgment, I booked a small conference room. Tyler set up like he was pitching to venture capitalists. He had a PowerPoint, printed handouts, even samples of proposed menu items in small containers. James, he began, clicking to his first slide, I want to apologize for our last conversation. I was emotional and didn't present my case professionally. Today, I want to show you why Fusion Forest isn't just a dream, it's a solid business opportunity. For the next 30 minutes, Tyler presented the most comprehensive business plan I'd ever seen from him. Market analysis showing the growth of fusion cuisine in Seattle. Demographic data about Capitol Hill's dining scene. Competitive analysis of similar restaurants. Supplier relationships he'd already established. Even month-by-month financial projections for the first 3 years. I had to admit, I was impressed. This wasn't the half-baked idea I'd assumed it was. The initial investment needed is $400,000, Tyler continued, clicking to a financial slide. This covers a $150,000 for kitchen equipment and initial renovation, a $100,000 for first year's rent and deposits, $50,000 for initial inventory and supplies, $50,000 for marketing and launch events, $50,000 operating capital buffer. He looked at me earnestly. I know you can net about $380,000 from your condo sale. I've already secured a $20,000 commitment from my culinary school mentor. That gets us to $400,000. Tyler, I said slowly, this is all very impressive, but you're still asking me to sell my home. I'm asking you to transform a static asset into a dynamic investment, he countered. Your condo appreciates what, 3 to 5% a year? Fusion Forest will be generating 20% returns within 18 months. According to your optimistic projections. Conservative projections. I've actually underestimated revenue to be safe. I leaned back in my chair. Let's say I was interested, which I'm not. What's my equity stake? Tyler's professional mask slipped for just a moment. Equity? Yes. If I'm investing $380,000 of the $400,000, I should own 95% of the business, right? He shifted uncomfortably. This isn't about ownership, James. It's about supporting family. But I promise you'll be paid back. With interest. What kind of interest? Over what timeline? What if the restaurant fails? It won't fail. But what if it does? Tyler started to get agitated. Why are you so focused on failure? Why can't you see the opportunity here? Because I'm risking everything and gaining nothing. You're asking me to give you $380,000 with no equity, no legal agreement, no recourse if things go wrong. That's not an investment, Tyler. That's a gift. A massive, life-altering gift that I can't afford to give. His face reddened. Can't afford? Your condo is worth almost $500,000. It's not liquid cash. It's my home. Where I live. How are you not getting this? The meeting deteriorated from there. Tyler accused me of never believing in him, of being jealous of his creativity, of wanting him to fail. He brought up every childhood grievance, every perceived slight, every time I'd chosen work over family events. You know what? He said, packing up his presentation materials. I don't need you. I don't need someone who can't see vision, who's too scared to take risks, who values a boring condo over his brother's future. I'll find real investors. People who understand what I'm building. As he stormed out, he turned back one last time. When Fusion Forest is the hottest restaurant in Seattle, when I'm on the cover of Food and Wine, don't come asking for a table. You had your chance to be part of something special. That evening, I texted my parents about Tyler's visit. Their response was to invite me to dinner the following Sunday. Let's discuss this as a family, my mom wrote. Bring Sarah. I should have known better. The dinner was an ambush from the start. Tyler had clearly briefed our parents on his presentation. The dining room table was set up with copies of his business plan, financial projections, and even architectural renderings of the proposed restaurant space. Sarah squeezed my hand under the table as my parents launched into their prepared speeches about family, opportunity, and sacrifice. Tyler sat smugly, occasionally chiming in with details about his revolutionary concept and guaranteed success. When they finally paused for breath, I said simply, "The answer is still no." The explosion was immediate. My dad slammed his hand on the table. My mom burst into tears. Tyler jumped up, knocking over his water glass. "I've already put deposits down." Tyler shouted. "I've told people the funding is secured. Do you want me to look like a failure before I even start?" "You told people you had funding before actually securing it?" Sarah asked. "That's not James's fault." My parents turned on her immediately. "This is a family matter," my dad said coldly. "You have no right to interfere." "She has every right," I said. "She's my partner. And she's talking sense, which is more than I can say for anyone else at this table." My mom wailed about choosing outsiders over blood. Tyler called Sarah a gold digger who was probably after my condo herself. My dad lectured about family values and how his generation understood sacrifice. We left amid shouting and tears. In the car, Sarah was shaking. "That was insane," she said. "Your family is insane." 2 weeks later, I found out about Tyler's GoFundMe campaign. "Help Fusion Forest Bloom," the title read. The description was a masterpiece of manipulation. My name is Tyler, and I'm a young chef with a dream of bringing innovative fusion cuisine to Seattle. After months of planning and preparation, I'm heartbroken to share that my primary investor backed out at the last minute, leaving me with financial obligations and a ticking clock on the perfect restaurant space. I refused to let this setback define me. He'd raised $3,400 in just 3 days, mostly from family friends and distant relatives who didn't know the full story. The comments were supportive. "So proud of you for not giving up. Can't wait to eat at Fusion Forest. True entrepreneurs overcome all obstacles." My cousin Derek, who'd started his own successful business, texted me privately, "Saw Tyler's GoFundMe. Primary investor backed out? That's you, isn't it? Stay strong, man. Don't let them guilt you into this." Update 2, 2 months later. I genuinely thought the GoFundMe would fizzle out and Tyler would face reality. I was wrong. Through a combination of social media savvy, local food blogger connections, and what I have to admit was impressive networking, Tyler managed to raise $47,000 on GoFundMe. He also convinced a family friend, Kevin Chen, to loan him $100,000. Kevin, who owns several successful businesses, later told me Tyler had implied I was already committed for $400,000 and he was just filling a small gap in the funding. With about $150,000, Tyler pivoted his concept. Instead of a full restaurant, he announced he would start with a food truck and catering business, with plans to expand to a brick-and-mortar location once established. It was actually a smarter approach than his original plan, and for a brief moment, I wondered if I'd been wrong about him. For 6 weeks, I heard nothing from my family. Sarah and I took advantage of the peace. I threw myself into work, landing a major project that came with a substantial bonus. We started seriously discussing marriage, looking at rings, talking about our future. Without the family drama, life was actually pretty perfect. Then, last Tuesday, my phone exploded. It started with a text from Tyler in the family group chat. Emergency. Need James now. This is life or death. Then came the calls. Mom, Dad, Tyler, aunts, uncles, cousins. All within the span of an hour. My phone was lighting up like a Christmas tree. I finally answered my mom's 17th call. James. Oh, thank God. We need you to come over right now. It's Tyler. Everything's falling apart. He needs you. Is he hurt? Is someone dying? His business. His future. It's all collapsing. Please, James, I'm begging you. Through her hysterical sobbing and my dad's angry interjections in the background, I pieced together what had happened. Week 1 of Fusion Forest Food Truck. Grand opening with significant fanfare. Tyler had spent $15,000 on a launch party featuring local influencers, food bloggers, and media. The truck served 500 people that first weekend. The reviews were actually positive. Week 2. Steady business. Tyler was confident, cocky even. Posted constantly about lines around the block, sold-out menu items, the Fusion Forest phenomenon. Week 3. Health inspector shut down the truck for multiple violations. Improper food storage temperatures. Inadequate hand-washing facilities. Cross-contamination issues. No proper permits for 2 of the locations where they'd been operating. Week 4. While dealing with health department requirements, Tyler discovered his business partner and culinary school friend, Marcus, had been skimming from the register. When confronted, Marcus emptied the business bank account of the remaining $35,000 and disappeared. Week 5. The food truck was repossessed. Tyler had leased it for $3,000 per month with a massive upfront payment, then missed 2 payments while closed. The leasing company showed no mercy. Week 6. Kevin Chen, realizing the business was in shambles and learning the truth about the funding situation, formally demanded immediate repayment of his $100,000 loan plus interest. So he needs you, my mom wailed. You have to help him. Help him how? I asked, though I already knew what was coming. Kevin is threatening to sue. Tyler could go to jail. And people are demanding refunds from the GoFundMe. You need to cover it all. Cover it all. You mean pay off over $150,000 of Tyler's debts. Plus he needs funds to start over, my dad added, having grabbed the phone. He's learned valuable lessons. He knows what mistakes not to make now. I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. The absurdity of the situation, my parents asking me to bail out Tyler's failed business while also funding his next attempt, struck me as genuinely funny. This isn't funny, James, my dad roared. It kind of is, I said. 6 months ago, you wanted me to sell my condo to fund his restaurant. Now you want me to sell it to pay for his failure? And fund another attempt? Are you listening to yourselves? This is your brother's life we're talking about. No, it's his consequences. There's a difference. The next day, Tyler texted me directly. It was the first time he'd reached out personally since our office meeting. James, I know you're angry. I know I messed up. But I'm drowning here. Kevin is threatening criminal charges for fraud. The GoFundMe could be investigated. I could end up with a record. Please, I'm begging you. I'll pay you back every penny. I'll sign any agreement you want. I just need help getting through this. I responded, get a lawyer. Get a job. Start paying people back. Take responsibility for your choices. That's it. That's all you have to say. I could go to jail, James. Jail. And you're giving me fortune cookie advice. You committed fraud, Tyler. You took money under false pretenses and misused it. That has consequences. I made mistakes. I'm 22. Am I supposed to have my entire life ruined because of a few bad decisions? You can start by accounting for the missing $30,000. There was a long pause before his next text. What missing money? $150,000 raised. $45,000 for truck and modifications. $30,000 to Marcus. $25,000 for ingredients and equipment. $20,000 for marketing. That's $120,000. Where's the other $30,000? He didn't respond for hours. When he finally did, it was with a photo of a brand new BMW in our parents' driveway. I needed reliable transportation for the business, he wrote. How was I supposed to get to supplier meetings and events? You bought a BMW with investor money? Leased. And it's a business expense. Image matters in the restaurant industry. I didn't bother responding. Yesterday, my parents made one final attempt. They showed up at my condo unannounced. The doorman called up, and I almost told him to send them away. But something, maybe pity, maybe morbid curiosity, made me let them up. They looked terrible. My mom had aged years in the past months. My dad's usual commanding presence was diminished. They sat on my couch, the one in the living room of the condo they'd wanted me to sell, looking defeated. We failed him, my mom said quietly. We gave him everything, never made him face consequences, and now. For a moment, I thought they were actually going to take responsibility. Then my dad spoke. That's why we need your help now more than ever. To fix our mistakes. To give Tyler another chance. By selling my condo. Not necessarily sell, my mom said quickly. Maybe a home equity loan? Or you could refinance and cash out some equity. I stared at them. You're unbelievable. Tyler burns through $150,000, commits fraud, potentially faces criminal charges, and your solution is for me to go into debt. What's the alternative? My dad asked. Let him go to jail. Let him declare bankruptcy at 22. Ruin his future forever. Let him face consequences. Get a job. Pay restitution. Learn from this. You don't understand, my mom said. He's talking about suicide. He says if his dreams are dead, he might as well be too. Then get him therapy. Not a bailout. They left calling me heartless, saying I'd regret this when Tyler did something drastic, that I was choosing money over my brother's life. Last night, Tyler posted a long, rambling Facebook post about dreams deferred, family betrayal, and society's failure to support visionaries. He ended with, "To everyone who invested in Fusion Forest, I'm sorry I let you down. To those who could have helped but chose not to, I hope you can live with yourselves." The comments are brutal. Some supporters have turned, demanding to know where their money went. Others are enablers, telling him he's a victim of circumstance and jealous haters. Kevin Chen has officially filed a lawsuit for fraud. The GoFundMe is under investigation. Multiple investors are demanding answers about the missing funds. And Tyler? He's living with our parents, driving his leased BMW, and posting on Instagram about his next concept, a ghost kitchen focusing on NFT-authenticated meals for the Web3 generation. My parents continue to enable him, making excuses, shielding him from consequences. They've taken out a second mortgage on their house to pay Kevin back, claiming they can't let Tyler have a criminal record. Sarah and I closed on our new 2-bedroom condo last week. Same building, better view, purchased with my promotion bonus and careful savings. We're planning a small wedding next year, family not invited. I've been in therapy for the past month, working through the guilt and manipulation. My therapist keeps reminding me, you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. You can only protect yourself from being dragged down with them. Tyler still hasn't gotten a job. He's 23 now, living at home, dreaming up new schemes while our parents scramble to clean up his messes. He tells anyone who'll listen that he'd be a successful restaurateur now if only his brother had believed in him. I kept my condo. Both of them, actually. And I sleep soundly in my overpriced downtown home, knowing I made the right choice. Because here's what I've learned. Family isn't about enabling destructive behavior. It's not about setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Real love sometimes means saying no, even when it breaks your heart. Even when they call you selfish. Even when they threaten to never speak to you again. Tyler may never understand that the best thing I could have done for him was refuse to enable his delusions. My parents may never forgive me for not sacrificing my future for his mistakes. But I can live with that. What I couldn't live with would be looking at my empty bank account, my ruined credit, my shattered dreams, knowing I'd thrown it all away for someone who'd learned nothing and appreciated even less. So to anyone facing similar pressure, your financial security isn't selfish. Your dreams matter just as much as anyone else's. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is step back and let someone face the consequences of their choices, even if they never thank you for it. Especially then.